She was acting distant. Said she needed to focus on herself. Then I found a handwritten note in her bag. It started with, "He makes me feel alive." I left it on her pillow, signed it. Noted. Me, 42 male. Mechanic in Pittsburgh. Married 17 years to Rachel, 39 female. We have 2 kids, Ethan 14, Lily 11. Our life? Nothing glamorous. We own a modest house. I've been working at the same garage for almost 20 years. Rachel works at a marketing firm. We're not flashy people. We do our jobs, we raise our kids, we get by. Or at least I thought that's what we were doing. Things started to shift around 6 months ago. She was still kind, still smiled, still talked to me. But she wasn't with me. You know what I mean? She'd stare off during dinner. She started getting into new hobbies I'd never heard her mention before. Hiking. Journaling. Meditation. She said she was trying to get back in touch with herself. Okay. People evolve. I gave her space. I encouraged her. Watched the kids more. Took on more errands. I thought she was going through a phase. Midlife restlessness. She started staying late at work. Said she was networking, team building. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and she'd be on the porch. Thinking. I'd ask if everything was okay, and she'd say yes, just tired, just needs time to think. So I backed off. Then she started locking her phone. Now we've never been read each other's phone kind of people. But the lock came out of nowhere. And her behavior changed with it. She started smiling at texts. Walking out of the room when her phone rang. She didn't post on social media anymore, not that she did a lot before, but now it was radio silence. She'd still kiss me goodbye. Still slept in the same bed. But it felt like she wasn't in the same house anymore. One day she told me she needed to focus on herself. Said she felt like she'd lost who she was. I asked if she was unhappy. She said no, she just didn't feel whole. I offered therapy. She refused. I asked if I could help somehow. She said I couldn't, that this was her journey. I remember those exact words. I let it be. Again. Then one night, she was rushing out the door. Said she was late for her book club. Told me to grab her purse from the kitchen table while she put on her shoes. I picked it up. It was unzipped. I went to close it and saw a folded paper sticking out of her notebook. I wouldn't have opened it. But there was something about the way it was hidden. Folded neatly, stuck in the pages of a book. It didn't look like a grocery list. It wasn't. It was a handwritten note. Her handwriting. He makes me feel alive. I remember that line burning through my chest. I had to read it twice. It was like I didn't even understand the words at first. It went on about how she felt, seen, for the first time in years. How he awakens her. How she's scared but can't stop. How he said he loved her. Said he'd wait for her. The name, Jake, came up twice. The note ended with, I want to be selfish. Just once. She came back from her book club 2 hours later. Smiled at me. Kissed me on the cheek. Asked how the kids were. I didn't say a word. The next day, I left the note on her pillow. No confrontation. No yelling. I just signed it. Noted. She didn't come home that night. She came back the next morning looking like hell. Puffy eyes. Red face. Said she stayed with a friend. Asked if I read it. I said yes. She didn't deny anything. Didn't try to lie. She broke down and said she was confused, lost, didn't mean to hurt anyone. I asked if it was still happening. She said yes. I asked who he was. She said he was a co-worker. Jake. Younger than her. Divorced. Smooth talker. Made her feel important. Said he listened. Said he admired her. They started having lunch, then drinks, then hotel rooms. She said it wasn't just physical. Said it felt Real, she cried. I sat there stone cold. Not because I'm tough. Because I was hollow. I didn't yell. I didn't ask why me. I just told her to pack a bag and go stay at her mom's. That we needed space. That's when she started panicking. Saying she'd end it. That she didn't want to lose the kids. That she loved me. That she didn't know what she was doing. That it wasn't serious. Too late. Over the next few days, I started digging. Her laptop? She hadn't cleared anything. I found emails, messages, photos. I found selfies they'd taken at a cabin in Ohio when she said she was at a conference. I started to document everything. I printed copies. Made backups. Even got a burner phone and texted myself the evidence. I found Jake on social media. Found his wife. Found his kids. He wasn't divorced. Just said he was. I didn't rage. I just planned. I put everything into a manila folder. Sent one copy to his wife with a handwritten note that said, "He makes her feel alive." Sent another to his company's HR department. Their company has a strict non-fraternization policy. Then I waited. It took about a week. Jake got fired. His wife left him. Rachel got suspended from work. She called me crying, saying she couldn't believe I did this. I told her, "You wanted to focus on yourself. Now you have nothing else to focus on." She begged. Said we could fix it. That she was willing to do counseling. That she'd cut him off. That she'd never forgive herself. I told her to save it. The kids were hurt. I didn't tell them the full story, just enough to explain why Mom wasn't home anymore. Ethan's old enough to piece things together. Lily's still young, but she knows Mom messed up. I started sleeping again. Real sleep. The kind where you don't wake up in a sweat wondering why your wife's phone buzzed at 2 a.m. She's still living at her mom's. She asks to see the kids? Sometimes I let her. Sometimes I don't. She asked if I'm seeing someone. I'm not. But I said maybe. She cried again. I'm not done with this story. There's more to unfold. Maybe I'll update later. Right now, I'm just focusing on getting through each day. Not for revenge. Just for peace. That's all I wanted in the first place. Peace. She started showing up unannounced. At first, it was just to drop things off for the kids. A sweater Lily forgot at her mom's. A book Ethan needed for school. I let it slide. We still shared custody, even if it was unofficial. But then she started showing up with excuses. She'd bring coffee. Just thought you could use it, she'd say, standing awkwardly in the doorway, eyes scanning the living room like she was taking inventory of what had changed. Like maybe she expected to find another woman's shoes by the door. Maybe she wanted to. I told her once, "You don't live here anymore. Call first." The next time, she brought a pie. Her mom's recipe. My favorite. The third time, she brought nothing. Just stood there. I asked her what she wanted. She said, "I don't know." I shut the door. Then she started getting weird. I noticed her car parked down the street a few nights in a row. Same silver Honda she's had since college. She wasn't even trying to hide it. She'd be in there with the lights off, engine running. I walked up to the window once. She rolled it down like it was normal. "Just wanted to make sure the kids got home safe," she said. They were already inside, watching a movie. I told her to go home. She did. But it kept happening. I told her I was going to start documenting it. Call it harassment. That scared her a little. She backed off for a while. Then she tried a new move. She went to my boss. Walked right into the garage during my shift. Told him she wanted to talk to me privately. My boss is a chill guy, but even he was confused. I stepped outside. She tried to kiss me. Said she missed me. Said we could start over. Said she was going to therapy now, and that she realized how broken she had been. I pushed her back gently, and told her I didn't care anymore. She looked like I slapped her. Then she turned it on me. Said I was cold. Said I was bitter. Said I wasn't giving her a chance to change. I told her she had 17 years to show me who she was. I believed her the first time. That night, I got a call from Jake's wife. I didn't know who it was at first. Her voice was calm. Too calm. She asked if I had a moment. Said her name was Tessa. She said, "Thank you for the folder. It saved me years of lies." She wasn't crying. Wasn't angry. She just wanted to talk. Said she and Jake were in the middle of a brutal divorce. That he tried to lie his way out of it. That he said my wife was the one chasing him. That he'd shown her a bunch of messages Rachel had sent after I found the note. I didn't want to hear it, but she went on. Apparently, after I kicked Rachel out, she didn't just stop seeing Jake like she claimed. She got desperate. Obsessive. Started messaging him constantly. Begging. Crying. Threatening to tell his kids everything if he didn't leave Tessa. He blocked her. That's why she spiraled. That's why she started driving by the house. Showing up at work. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about the fact that he didn't want her either. Tessa said, "I don't think she's stable. I just wanted you to know in case things get worse." They did. One night, around 3 a.m., I heard glass shatter. I ran downstairs. Front window smashed. Rock on the floor. No note. Just silence outside. Cops came. Filed a report. No cameras. No witnesses. But I knew. Next morning, I get a text. "Rachel, you didn't have to destroy my life. I made a mistake. You made it permanent." I didn't answer. That day, I picked up 2 security cameras and installed them front and back. Gave copies of the footage access to my neighbor, who's a retired cop. I told Rachel if she came near the property again, I'd file a restraining order. Real one this time. I said I'd show the judge the texts, the rock, the video footage, and the HR letters. All of it. She didn't reply. But 2 days later, she sent Lily a message on her tablet. "Daddy's making it hard for Mommy to see you. But I still love you. Please don't hate me." Lily showed me. That's when I called my lawyer. I wasn't just going to fight for custody now. I was going for full legal guardianship. I didn't want her pulling the kids into her spiral. I didn't care if she cried about it in therapy. She'd used up all her second chances. Then something even stranger happened. Tessa texted me again. "Check this out. Found it in Jake's glove compartment." It was a photo. A handwritten note in Rachel's handwriting. A different one. It started, "You said I was your escape. You said you'd leave her." The note kept going. Angry. Obsessive. Even mentioned hurting herself. Or him. I read it 3 times. My stomach turned. Then Tessa said, she was watching my house. My kids. I filed a police report. You should too. I didn't reply. I just printed everything. Every message. Every photo. Every timestamp. I have no clue how deep this is going to go. But I'm ready. A week passed with no sign of her. No texts. No surprise visits. No messages through the kids' devices. I didn't trust it. Silence from Rachel never meant peace. It meant planning. Then, out of nowhere, my mom calls me on a Wednesday afternoon. She's upset. Asking why I didn't tell her I was getting sued. I asked her what she meant. She says Rachel showed up at her house, crying. Told her I was threatening her, manipulating the kids, isolating her from her own children. Said she felt unsafe. Said I was trying to destroy her life out of revenge. My mom knows me. We're not super close, but she's not stupid. Still, it rattled her enough that she called me. That was the goal. To rattle. I didn't yell. I just thanked her for calling and hung up. Then I started preparing again. I went to my lawyer and told him what happened. We drafted a response in case she filed something formal. I sent my mom screenshots of Rachel's messages, photos of the note, even forwarded her the video of Rachel throwing the rock. She didn't say much after that, just, "Okay. I see what's going on." 2 days later, a letter came in the mail. Rachel had filed for emergency mediation. She claimed I was keeping the kids from her, emotionally manipulating them, and interfering with her attempts to co-parent. I wasn't surprised. She had nothing left to lose. At the mediation, she came in wearing a pale blue dress like she was trying to look fragile. She had a folder of papers that she said showed how I'd been cruel, cold, controlling. She even printed out texts where I told her to stay away, but conveniently left out the parts where she was sitting outside my house at 3 a.m. or trying to manipulate Lily. I had everything with me. Neatly tabbed. Color-coded. Security camera footage. The rock. The text she sent Lily. Her own note about Jake. The emails she'd sent after the affair. The mediator didn't say much. Just asked a few questions and took notes. At the end, she looked at Rachel and said, "This behavior is concerning. You've created instability for your children. Mr. is within his rights to protect them from distress." Rachel cried. Again. But this time, no one rushed to comfort her. When we left the building, she hissed at me in the parking lot. "You're turning everyone against me. Even my own kids." I didn't answer. I got back in my truck and drove straight to the school to pick up Lily and Ethan. They were laughing when they got in, telling me about a substitute teacher who tried to play dodgeball and got hit in the face. Normal stuff. I didn't say a word about what had just happened. That night, Lily asked if she could sleep in my bed. She said she'd had a weird dream. I let her. Around midnight, I woke up and found her sitting up, staring at the window. She said, "I saw Mommy's car earlier. Down the street." I checked the cameras. Nothing on footage. But I know Lily didn't lie. I started keeping the porch light on all night. Made sure the cameras were always running. I told my neighbor across the street, and he started keeping an eye out too. He's retired military. Doesn't miss a thing. Then came the fire. Not the house, thank God. It was the garage. Small fire. Happened early morning while I was getting ready for work. I smelled smoke, ran out, and saw flames licking up the sidewall. I put it out with the hose and fire extinguisher before it spread. Cops came. Said it looked like an accidental ignition. But they couldn't confirm it without footage. That was the problem. The side camera had been turned around. Not broken, just twisted away from the garage. That takes intention. I checked the footage from the other camera, on the opposite corner of the house. You could barely make it out, but there was a shadow, a person, moving close to the garage around 2:38 a.m. No clear face. Just a shape. The fire marshal said it could have been a tossed cigarette, or maybe an engine spark. Nothing. Proven. But I knew better. I filed another report. This time, I asked for a restraining order. It's pending. And I haven't seen Rachel since. But I did get a strange voicemail 2 nights ago. From an unknown number. A man's voice. Low. Calm. He said, "You think this is over. You think she's unstable. But unstable doesn't mean harmless." That was it. Click. No ID. No trace. I showed it to the cops. They said to keep an eye out. That's all they can do right now. But now I'm thinking, maybe it wasn't just Jake. Maybe Rachel's been talking to someone else. Maybe she's deeper into something than I thought. Maybe this isn't just heartbreak anymore. Maybe she's spiraling into something worse. Something dangerous. And I'm starting to think, this isn't over. It's just getting started. A week later, I got another voicemail. Same man. Same calm voice. "You're not listening. She told you she was sorry. She meant it. But now you're the problem." That time, I took the phone straight to the police station. They checked it, said the number was untraceable. Probably a burner. They offered to send a patrol by the house more often, but no one had made a direct threat. I felt like I was being stalked, but they said unless someone did something physical, there wasn't much they could do. I started carrying. Legal. Licensed. I never wanted to, but I wasn't taking chances. Not with the kids in the house. Then one night I was working late, trying to catch up at the garage. The shop was closed, but I had keys. I was underneath a car when I heard something outside. A crunch. Like gravel. I waited. Then came another sound, metal against metal. The front gate being closed. I grabbed the tire iron and stood up. The lights inside were off except the ones over my workbench. I moved slowly to the front, watching the door. No one came in. No knock. Nothing. Then the back door creaked. I moved fast. When I got there, the door was cracked open. Wind blowing in. No one in sight. But taped to the handle was a folded piece of paper. Same handwriting. Rachel. You ruined me. He's gone. My job's gone. My kids hate me. I don't care what happens to me anymore. I'll make sure you remember me. I called the cops again. Gave them the note. They asked again if I had any reason to believe she'd harm me. I said yes. I said she was unraveling. But still, nothing concrete. Nothing they could hold her on. 2 days passed. Quiet. Almost too quiet. Then my lawyer called. Rachel filed for full custody. Said I was unstable. That I was carrying a gun. That I was creating a dangerous environment. She submitted photos, ones I didn't know she had. Photos of me at the shooting range. Photos of me arguing with her outside the garage. Someone was following me. Taking pictures. I realized it then, she had help. Jake? No. He was done with her. Tessa told me he'd moved out of state. Probably trying to forget everything. Whoever it was, they were doing this for her. Court date got set. Fast-tracked. I had 2 weeks to get everything ready. Then something unexpected happened. Lily found a box. It was tucked in the back of her closet, hidden behind old board games. Inside were a few of Rachel's old journals. She must have left them behind when she moved out. Lily gave them to me and said, I think you should read these. I did. There were pages and pages of obsession. Not just about Jake. About me. About how she resented me for keeping her in a small life. How she hated that I was too steady. Too boring. That she felt invisible. That she started the affair to feel like someone could still want her. And when Jake dumped her, the rage turned back to me. She wrote things like, I'll never forgive him for letting me fall this far, and, if he had loved me better, none of this would have happened. That was the twist. She wasn't just angry I caught her. She blamed me for her mistakes. That night, I made a copy of every single journal page that mattered. Took it to my lawyer. Took it to the judge. Showed them her words. Her state of mind. Then I did something petty. I sent her 1 page. Just one. Highlighted in yellow. If I lose everything, I'll burn his life to the ground. Let's see if he still feels steady then. I mailed it. No note. Just highlighted. Just clear. Then I waited. Court day came. She showed up with the same man who had left the voicemails. Tall guy. Wore a suit too sharp for his face. Shady, but trying to look clean. She looked like she'd aged 10 years. Pale. Sleepless. The judge didn't even let it go to argument. He read the journals. Read the threats. Saw the photos. Saw the footage. I got full custody. Legal. Physical. No visitation until she passed a psychological evaluation and completed therapy. Her face crumbled. It was over. On paper. But not in her head. The final twist came 2 days later. I got a call from Tessa. She said she just got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo of her and her kids. Taken recently. On the back. He may have run, but I didn't. I remember everything. It was postmarked from Pittsburgh. Same day the court order came down. That night, I found another note taped to my door. You won, but I'll always be the reason you don't sleep at night. Tell them what you did too. Tell them what you ignored. Tell them how many signs you missed. She wasn't wrong. I did miss signs. I did ignore things. I saw the change in her eyes long before Jake. I saw the coldness, the distance, and told myself it was a phase. I gave her rope, and she used it to build her own trap. I didn't cheat. But I stayed silent too long. I let her drift. And maybe that's what she meant. Maybe I was the steady thing she resented. But in the end, she became the chaos that burned herself down. And I just watched. That's my revenge. I didn't destroy her. I just stopped saving her.